All right, here we go. Today is, well, it's a word for you today. And this is Friday, May 23rd. And there's a classic old movie. Many of you may have seen it, I hope. It's the Pink Panther. Pink Panther Strikes Again. And there's a scene where Chief Inspector Clouseau walks into a German hotel. And he walks up to the hotel manager by the and he sees a little dog next to the counter. And so he asks him, he says, "Does your dog bite?" To which the old man answers, "No." When Clouseau reaches down to pet the little dog, the dog attacks him. It tries to tear his hands off. And Clouseau turns to the little old man standing there at the counter. He says, "I thought you said your dog does not bite." To which the old man responds, "That's not my dog." Well, that's kind of what Paul is warning us today in our passage, the Christian community, about in Galatians chapter 5, verse 15 is where our study is taken from this morning. It says this, it says, "But if you bite and devour one another, watch out that you are not consumed by one another." One writer called this spiritual cannibalism. Thought that was a funny way to put it. He said it's probably a reference to the malicious talk that could go on in church, or degrading slander, possibly crosswords, or even arguing over minor issues within the church. More than likely, it refers to legalism, because that's what Paul's been addressing here. It's when we're trying to force people to live by our standards that he could be referring to here. And I came across some really interesting articles as I was preparing for this. One I came across is from the Associated Press. It stated, this is weird, are you ready? Human bites have increased by 77% in the past 10 years. Where does that come from? Furthermore, according to Michael Callahan, who is Chief of Emergency Medicine at the University of California in San Francisco, he says human bites are a worse problem than dog bites because they are much more likely to get infected. These are weird things to me. New York City reports that human bites used to rank third behind dog bites and cat bites, but in the past few years, we've moved up. We are now second in bites behind dog bites in New York City. So I'm pretty sure that the Galatians were not physically biting, physically taking chunks out of each other. I'm sure this is a metaphor or figurative language that he's writing about here. One writer stated this way. He said, "The verbs bite and devour are two common and old verbs used together when speaking of wild animals. Wolves, it refers to even like cats and dogs. So the imagery here is wild animals savagely attacking and killing each other." And here's an interesting statement he makes. "A graphic picture of what happens in the spiritual realm when believers do not love and serve one another." My favorite statement is by the Prince of Preachers, Charles Haddon Spurgeon. He said this about this verse right here. He said, "When dogs and wolves bite one another, it is according to their nature." You hear that? It's according to their nature. That's my favorite line in this whole thing. He said, "But it is sad indeed when sheep take to biting one another." So I thought for a minute, well, what makes a sheep gentle? And here's what I came across. It's because that's its nature. See, it doesn't have to work at it. It's just the nature of the sheep, just much like the nature of a wolf to be cruel and attacking. A wolf doesn't have to summon up the courage to go and attack a sheep because that's the nature of the wolf as a predator. So the nature, this is good, the nature or predisposition of an animal determines its behavior. Don't you love that? Say, a magazine article, I found this, it described sheep for us, because I'm thinking, well, aren't we sheep? Isn't that what Christ calls us? And he said, this is what it says about sheep. It says they are incredibly expressive. Interesting. They're expressive. They're curious, fun-loving, I love this part, and non-judgmental individuals. That's what he calls sheep, who have a very gentle nature about them. So I thought, well, that's us. The true nature of a born-again believer manifests itself through love. That should be our nature, serving others, extending grace, demonstrating humility. Love does not bite and devour a brother or a sister in the Lord. It is patient and kind. It's not jealous or boastful. It's not proud or rude. It does not demand its own way. It is not irritable, and it keeps no record of wrong being done to it. It does not rejoice about injustice, but rejoices whenever the truth wins out. Our love never gives up. It never loses faith, is always hopeful, and endures through every circumstances. You might recognize that from 1 Corinthians 13, right? This God kind of love, this love that we are to manifest daily in our Christian life, is pure, it's selfless, it's sacrificial, unconditional, and it's intentional. It is divine, humble, and never hidden. I really believe as Christians, if we constantly displayed our nature, our true spiritual nature given to us from the Holy Spirit, we would be displayed in love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, and self-control. If we did that, Christian conflict, we could pretty much put it out of our church completely, almost make it non-existent. So, if you and I are sheep, isn't our nature to be gentle? Think about it. Have a good day.